Hey everyone, welcome back to the Keepin It 100 podcast. This is
it. This is real, man. We are knee deep in this thing. This is episode 2.
Knee deep, episode 2. I guess, number 2 is pretty knee deep.
What if this is like the only one we did? Just the only episode.
Then we technically would be knee deep, yes. We're knee deep, the last episode, number 2.
But we're here, man.
We're here.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know what we're about, it's just about having real conversations. I know a lot of times when we're with friends or maybe even just by yourself, you long for those real conversations.
Yeah.
That's what this space is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And hopefully supplement or talk about the things that we learn at youth group or just whatever you want to talk about. And
Yeah.
it's not always going to be just us up here. We're going to have other people on here too. But yeah, today we're talking about what we just heard at youth on Monday about emotions.
Yeah, and emotions can be super tricky.
Yeah.
Like they are a part of us. They're a part of life, but yet they want to control my life.
Yes.
And so what do we do about our emotions, man?
For real. Emotions are something that sometimes we feel guilty for having them too. Like we're angry and then we're upset because we're angry, and because we were angry we did this, and it's like, well, I don't want to be an angry person.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just can't control it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we need to really learn about emotions and really start to learn how to celebrate them and learn how to embrace them, learn how to name them, which we'll talk about in a bit. But really embrace emotions and not see them as the enemy of our life, but really to enhance our life so that we can experience the fullness of life,
So let's start here, okay?
Sure.
So your bottom line was the safest place to process our emotions is with Jesus.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is totally true. And I think is actually counterintuitive to what we actually think.
100%.
When we're angry, when we're sad, when we're depressed, anxious.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to God because maybe we look as if we're inferior, or as if we're he doesn't want to deal with us because or maybe our emotions cause us to do something that we're ashamed of and don't want to go to Jesus about it. But like you said, Jesus knows those emotions.
Yeah.
He knows he was fully God and fully human.
Yeah.
So he understands emotions perfectly well, right?
He felt it all.
And so he's probably he is the safest place to process those emotions, because no matter what you say, no matter what you do, he's going to love you.
Yeah.
And he's going to help you through that.
Yeah.
Now imagine if maybe some of you students have gone to your parents and you try to process this emotion of anger towards them, or sadness or fear or depression, and your parents' response wasn't one that was actually helpful.
That's true.
Which, let's be honest, your parents aren't perfect. They love you, but they aren't perfect, and neither are you. So sometimes
Let's keep it 100. Neither are you.
So sometimes things come up, and it makes it worse than it was in the beginning, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, we need practical tips on how to really sit down, process. I think, as I was just kind of writing this, this word process really meant a lot to me. The idea of to process something means to organize, right? And so it's slowing, because of course emotions can be super messy.
Yes.
You're feeling tons of things at one time, especially if you walk through some type of traumatic event and you feel everything at one time.
Yeah.
And so it's just taking time to pause and to process. And so many people don't want to process. We want kind of quick fixes. We want to kind of roll past them, or we just don't have the self-control to just sit down and wait. And so we just kind of lash out. We just kind of show attitude, or we do something that we regret. When I think the key to a lot of that is to really process.
I remember when I was in high school, I made a choice that had some serious consequences, right? And I remember I was in my bedroom. I was literally on the floor crying.
Wow.
I felt shame for what I did.
Yes.
Fear.
Yes.
Humiliation.
Yeah.
I was scared to go to God about it.
Yes.
Both my parents were there. They're divorced, so it was, it was bad when they were both there comforting me.
Yeah.
But
what did you do, Ron?
They did a great job, showing me love. Hey, we love you. They reflected God in that sense very well, and I think
it's good.
In that moment, that's what I needed, and recognizing that, because even though I made a decision, which I'm sure some of you guys have made decisions or are going to make decisions which you feel really crappy about, but you can feel all those things at once and still be loved.
Yeah.
No matter what you say, no matter how you're feeling, you're still loved by God.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's what makes God so beautiful, is that he's able to like receive that. So like that fear, the anger, the rage, and the guilt that you might like he is able to handle that. But he's also able to show us the love that we need in those type of moments. And I just think that's just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
You know.
So what were like the key things that you said, hey, to process your emotions with Jesus, here's what you do?
Yeah, so one of the things I said was to label them, so like to name it. So I think one of the healthiest things is to just name it.
I'm angry.
Just
I'm
just
livid.
say it. And you know, so many of us like we pose, or we try to like hide it, or we try to like, you know, make it be something that it's not.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're angry, just say that you're angry. Not, I just don't feel like talking, you know, or whatever, right? And so we don't say what we're feeling. And I think part of the freedom, and one of the biggest kind of starts, is learning to name it. You know.
And it's okay to be feeling those things.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be depressed or anxious. Do you want to stay there? Probably not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But naming it is part of moving on.
Yeah.
And not letting it control your actions. Right?
Exactly. I heard this quote from my therapist, actually, which, you know, it's all right to have them.
Hey, I've gone to therapy many
Keep
times.
100.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with therapy.
And they said, like, you name it, you tame it. So I was like, because, you know, so much emotions get out of whack. So if you name it, there's a potential I'll let you really to like start to control it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I know, especially for middle school and high school, I know for me, and I'm sure you guys are experiencing this too, it's hard to control your emotions.
Oh my gosh, especially now.
Yeah.
Especially like while we're doing this recording, it's red phase. You can't travel.
No.
You can't go to the store anymore, of course,
No.
as a group or a family. Like, it's just one person.
Can't go hang out at the mall.
You are locked down in your house. You probably, you know, don't have internet anymore.
Because is it the apocalypse?
I'm kidding.
What happened? Like
I'm
nukes
kidding.
drop? Why did they have internet? They wouldn't be watching this if they didn't have internet.
That's true. But anyways, but that being said, yeah, it's been a wild start of the year.
So let's work through that then.
Yeah.
So processing the emotions of even just being in lockdown. What are some things that maybe you're feeling or maybe they might be feeling?
Yeah, so maybe I think the biggest one that I'm probably feeling, and maybe you're feeling, is loneliness.
Yes.
Right? That's so hard. Like when you're home and you feel like you have no friends, you feel like you have no people around you, you feel like you can't contact people. And if you do have the means to actually speak to people, it still feels very superficial, right? It's like whether you FaceTime them, Zoom them, you know, of course, on Instagram, it just still feels very weird. And so the first step that I think is to just say that. Is to say to a friend or to, I was going to say spouse, but you don't have a spouse. But I have a spouse. You give a spouse.
But they might have a
future spouse.
or a boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, sure. But it's going to a person or, you know, to your journal or whatever.
To your squad.
Yeah, and just saying, I feel lonely, right? And that, of course, in itself is such a powerful thing to say. And it's you taking power over yourself, right? It's that you taking the responsibility and the ownership. You're not blaming anyone. You're not blaming circumstances. It's just stating the fact of how you're feeling, right?
And I think an awesome thing about the two, especially if you go to your peers or your friends and say, hey guys, I'm feeling lonely, or I'm feeling like I'm bored. I have no clue what to do. I'm angry that we have to sit in here, that I go to school. I mean, maybe you see your friends there, but it's not the same, right?
Yeah.
That can actually build a stronger friendship and stronger bond with your friends. And if we're being honest, if you say that to your friends and they shrug you off or they laugh at you, like maybe they're not really good friends after all that.
Get rid of them.
Cancel them. No, we don't.
Such a pastor thing to say.
We don't support cancel culture.
Yeah, I know.
But we do say, you know what? If if you're gonna be vulnerable with them and they're just gonna laugh at you, then maybe they're not worth it.
100%. 100%. So yeah, so I think that's a big first step. Again, that's going to look like either like a parent or like a trusted friend. I use a journal, like legit 100. I use a journal and I say the top 3 things that I'm feeling, and it could be like, hey, I feel fat, I feel insecure, and I feel, like hungry. And I just I just write 3 things that I feel, and I just invite God. And so that's the next step, is to invite God to really help you in those moments.
Yeah. Because, I don't know, a lot of people think that maybe because God's not an actual person there, that he can help me through this. Yeah. But the reality is that just, you find over time as you're expressing these feelings, hey, I'm feeling lonely. I remember there was one time before I got married where I was living by myself. It wasn't all week. Like, I'd go to this place, I would do my internship stuff that I'm doing, and I'd go back home and be back with my family. But there was like a solid 4 days where I lived by myself, and I noticed those times where I was by myself, I legit felt lonely. And I was like, I got nothing to do. Like, I don't have a TV here. I got internet, and I have my laptop, so I could like play games if I wanted to. I could talk to my friends, but I actually had to occupy my time and recognize that, you know what, I'm lonely.
Yes.
And yes, I love what I'm doing here, but I'm actually lonely. And I found in those moments when I went to God, like, I'm lonely, it's ironic because I went to God telling him that I'm lonely, but he met me there.
Wow.
So I obviously wasn't lonely anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I had God,
Wow.
his
That's
peace
good.
there, his comfort, and his presence there with me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he responds.
Yeah. No, it's good. And Ron, I want to speak about this idea of like numbing.
Yes.
Right? Because that's a
Yes.
big thing.
Yes.
And learning how to cope, especially when it comes to emotions and dealing with our emotions. What are some ways that like students may like numb, or or explain that term, like what it means to like numb out or whatever?
Numb out, basically, you totally ignore your emotions, what's going on, put whatever media or whatever thing in front of you to totally distract yourself, focus on that, so you're not even focusing on what's really going on. And if I'm being honest, I think this might be totally stereotypical, and I'm sorry, but I'm picturing like that student who's sitting there in class, AirPods in, music blaring, not even listening.
Yep.
You just
That's you. You felt that heart. That's you. You know, it's you.
Just broke up, got in a fight with your friend, found out you're failing, and you feel like there's no hope, and you're just like, you know what, not worth it. AirPods in, listen to music, whatever music it is. Playing video games. That was me in middle school and high school. Play video games. That's how I would numb out. Maybe some of you, I don't know how, but some of you it's reading. And maybe just, if you love books, you're just getting into that book and you're like, I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to focus on my problems. Whatever it may be, like, that's examples of numbing out. And I mean, there's moments in my life where I have to fight that too. Where I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to sit and watch Netflix. Or I'm going to go and do something else, watch TV, so that I don't have to deal with what's going on in my life. Which isn't good. That doesn't fix the problem.
No.
They just build up.
It doesn't. Okay, and so that leads to my next thing is like, why is it so harmful, like, to numb?
It's exactly that, because it builds up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't address the issue. Like, you feel good, maybe the time passes, but the issues that are down there aren't resolved. Right? So that anger that you have about something towards someone or something else, towards God even, it comes up again another time, and they just build on top of each other to where you become a cynical person.
Yes.
Someone who's just filled with anger. Someone who doesn't care, who's apathetic towards everything. Like, okay, well, my grades are just bad. Well, they're just always going to be bad. I'm not smart. And it actually builds a lot of insecurity inside yourself.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I find that is the world's way of trying to deal with your problems. Have you noticed, you watch, I'm sure you've seen like politics and stuff and what's going on in shows and TV shows, that the way that people deal with problems is they like avoid it, or they hide it, or they just don't worry about it, because like you got to figure out how to work through these emotions. But a healthier way and a more holier way is to really sit with God and to really process them and to really work through, okay, so why am I feeling this? And then, of course, what can I do about it?
Which is good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm even challenging myself now.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
So I need to spend some time quiet, not AirPods in, listening to
Yes.
music, texting people, watching something, playing a game, just in silence and be like, okay, what am I feeling about today, about whatever's going on in my life, and give those to God. And maybe that's the challenge you guys can do too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And don't feel like you need to be, perfect in this. Like, I'm turned 28. I turned 20 like a few weeks ago. And I'm just learning how to do this because, like I said in the recording, that I'm a hyper emotional person. Like I am like the hype person. I feel stuff. I cry just randomly. There's moments where I just look at my daughter and I just cry because she's just so beautiful and just so precious, and yet she bit her sister the other day, and I had to deal with that, and I just 100, okay?
she bit her sister, but I love her. She's so cute.
But I'm still even learning, of course, how to process, right? And so it's a journey. It's a human journey.
And I'm the opposite. I'm not a hype man.
yeah, you're just.
I feel emotions. If anything, it's anger more than a lot of stuff.
Oh wow. Okay.
And but just learning to be like, when those emotions do come up, my tendency is to tuck them away and be like, you know what, it's fine. But being like, you know what, it's not fine, and I need to process this with God. So,
yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, folks, that is the challenge for you. That's our time today. We want to encourage you to subscribe and continue to watch our next few episodes. Next week, we're going to talk about anger.
Woo!
And then the next week, we have a guest on, and we're going to talk about fear.
Yes.
And then we're going to talk about this big one called guilt, which I'm sure you've experienced some guilt, and so I'm excited.
There's a lot to keep. There's a lot to be 100 about in those things. Fear, anger, and guilt. Oh man, they're all in here.
Yeah.
But
so thanks for watching, guys. We love you. Be encouraged. Be challenged, and remember to keep it 100 with God, because He will always keep it 100 with you. We didn't create that slogan. I just made that up.
And most importantly, smash that like button.
Yeah, that's right.
Why do people say smash the like button?
I don't know. Like, you can't smash it. Like, I mean, you could like
punch it. You literally just click it.
Yeah.
You literally just drag your mouse or tap it. You like tap it. Like you don't actually.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you gently say nice things to the like button, and while you're there, just press it.
Love you guys. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.